One of the most remarkable features of the classical age, the fourth age of globalization, is the ideas that emerged across Eurasia during this period, and especially during a roughly 500-year period, 800 BC to around 300 BC. Because during this period, the great wisdom traditions of the ancient world came to life nearly simultaneously across the vast expanse of Eurasia. So remarkable was the simultaneous emergence of these great philosophical or wisdom traditions that they were noted by scholars from the Enlightenment onward, but characterized systematically in 1949 by a German historian and philosopher named Karl Jaspers, who wrote in a book, The Origin and Goal of History, that this 500-year period was a turning point of human history. So he called it the axial age, the axis on which human history turned. And he noted that in this short period of 500 years across the vast expanse of Eurasia, basic wisdom traditions that would last and inspire us and guide us until today were formed. In East Asia, in China, came especially the traditions of Confucius and his followers for centuries to come. So Confucian thought, which became an absolute pillar of Chinese civilization, emerged during this period. In Persia, the great Persian empires, came the teachings of Zarathustra about the nature of good and evil and the universe as a fundamental battleground between good and evil, ideas that would influence Western religions and indeed religions worldwide for millennia to follow. This was the period in which the great texts of Hinduism and the new teachings that emerged from Hinduism of Buddhism came to life, and especially as Buddha, Siddhartha, sat under the Bodhi tree and received enlightenment and his guidance to the generations that would follow. This is the age when the Hebrew prophets, Elijah and Isaiah and Amos and the other prophets, preached in the Holy Land and preached the need for social justice among the peoples. And this was the period in which the incredible, breathtaking brilliance of Greek philosophy came to life. The first scientists in the Western tradition, Thales and Democritus, and the great philosophers of Socrates and his student Plato and his student Aristotle, gave birth to philosophical insights of such amazing depth and sophistication and profundity that we read them today not only for their historical importance, but for the wisdom that they can still impart for our very challenges in the 21st century. This is what Karl Jaspers noted. Confucius and his followers and other wisdom traditions of ancient China, Hinduism and the birth of Buddhism and the teachings of Buddha and his followers, Zarathustra and Zoroastrianism, the religion of the Persian Empire of the time that would influence Jewish thought as Hebrew exiles returned to the Holy Land when they were released from bondage by Cyrus, the Persian king of kings, and the Hebrew prophets and the Greek philosophers all became the pivots of civilization, the fonts of ancient wisdom that last until today. What's amazing for us is how we still thrive from this axial age, and what I expect that you and we together will appreciate as we study the axial age as part of the fourth age of globalization. So what are our goals in this part of our course? They are to understand these great philosophical traditions, at least to get acquainted with them, with Confucius and Zarathustra and the Buddha and the Greek philosophers and the Hebrew prophets, to understand how this axial age arose. One of the reasons, I think quite likely, is that this was also the age of the invention of the alphabet and all that that made possible. Once there was a convenient script, writers started to write down their thoughts and then to propagate their thoughts. And the invention of the manuscript and the invention of transmissible information in book form became an explosion of new knowledge that we can see, for example, in ancient Greece. I want us to appreciate some of the deep similarities across these great ancient wisdom traditions. For me, when I look at Aristotle's teachings, or I look at Buddha's teachings, or I look at Confucius's teachings, one of the things that really impresses me is how all of them appealed to human virtue. They wanted us to be better people. They wanted us to train our minds. They wanted us to orient our thoughts and our habits and our activities, our very character, towards the human good and towards compassion and respect and justice for others. They did this each in their own ways, but we are seeing in the axial age the birth of various virtue ethics philosophies. That is the idea that humans can cultivate the best side of human nature, can cultivate the excellences or the virtues that lead to happier lives and happier and more harmonious communities. And I want us to appreciate how this ancient wisdom that helped form the very civilizations of the world and that are with us until today can play a role in helping us to understand 21st century challenges. What's absolutely wonderful is that we can visit some of the sites of the axial age. We can visit the Temple of Confucius in Beijing, in the capital of China, reflecting the deep influence and reverence for Confucius that lasts in China until today. We can visit the Academy of Athens, and we'll see today's modern site where ancient Greek learning continues to be studied for its relevance today, and where absolute cutting-edge science and philosophy continues to be undertaken. We can go and we will visit the very place where Buddha gave his teachings to his followers, to the Sangha, in India, in Sarnath. Astounding to stand and walk in the place where Buddha and his early followers learned and propagated and codified this new great tradition. And we will visit one of the foundational sites of Hinduism, the Vishnu Temple, on the banks of the Ganges River, the Mother Ganga, in Varanasi, to really feel and imbibe the great ancient wisdom traditions and religions of Indian civilization, Hinduism. So we can partake until today in the axial age, not only in our joy at the wisdom that we can continue to read and contemplate, but actually walking in the footsteps of the great sages. So let's go.